The yard looks the same, but the morning pattern has changed. The first bird does not rush in, it checks. From the bird's route, the old path now ends at nothing. Stopping a routine changes what birds check, but not always the way people imagine. Before the change, the yard had a pattern birds could recognize. Then one morning, the usual refill does not happen. Birds often check a place because yesterday taught them to. Sometimes the clearest clue is what is not there. From inside, the yard may only look quieter. The old path now costs more than it gives. Some birds wait, but only for a short time. When the reward is gone, cover becomes more important. A changed routine can push birds back into slower searches. The safer food may be smaller, scattered, and harder to find. The empty tray does not make birds helpless, it changes their choices. Later that morning, the check happens again. Crossing open space makes less sense when the reward is uncertain. The feeder is not only empty, it is also far from shelter. Not every bird reacts the same way. To the bird, the old feeding spot is now a question mark made of space, cover, and memory. By the next day, the yard is still being checked, but less directly. Even the waiting spots begin to change. A person may think the birds are gone when they are only using different routes. Yard edges can become more important when a feeder stops. The tray stays in the yard, but it no longer means the same thing. When food takes longer to find, weather matters more. A small clue can be as simple as where the bird chooses to stand. When food routines change, birds may check water and cover too. Sometimes the most helpful part of the yard is not the feeder. The first lesson is visible. When the routine stops, birds redraw the yard. By afternoon, the old feeding spot is no longer the first choice. One bird's hesitation can change the next bird's choice. The clue stays visible. The tray is not just low, it is empty. Even the scraps below the feeder can disappear after a day or two. When one source stops, birds widen the search. One clue to watch for is a visit that ends almost as soon as it begins. Often the change is simple. A busy morning, an empty bag, a forgotten routine. Birds do not know the reason. They only read the result. A bird that waits usually waits where it can leave fast. The same yard can feel open or safe depending on where the bird can hide. As light fades, birds spend less time testing empty places. One last check may happen before the bird gives the spot up for the night. For the night, shelter matters more than checking a place that stayed empty. The feeder waits through the night, but birds are no longer waiting there. By the end of the day, the pattern is clear. Check less, search wider, shelter sooner. After more than one empty visit, some birds approach from farther away. The old place is not forgotten immediately. The search shifts toward places that offer small but reliable pieces. A tidy yard can accidentally remove the backup plan. From a low branch, a simple rake can change the safest route. When one corner gets harder, birds may shift to the next safe edge. The safest yard is often the one connected to other safe places. Then the weather changes, and the empty routine matters in a new way. A wet, empty tray tells the bird the same thing. No food here. In wet weather, birds often choose shelter before they choose a risky check. After rain, birds may search places where insects and seeds are easier to reach. The old route can also pass hazards humans barely notice. From inside, the glass is just a window. From outside, it can look like more yard. Birds may solve the problem by staying low and close cover. By now, the story is not just empty seed, it is a changed map of food, cover, water, weather, and route safety. Making the yard easier does not mean making birds depend on one spot. Clean water near cover can help even when a feeder is empty. A feeder far from cover can become harder to use when the reward is uncertain. Sometimes the best help is to watch from a distance first. The clue is not only fewer birds, it is where they are choosing to be. If feeding returns, the condition of the food matters too. An empty tray can become a chance to reset it safely. A safer routine gives birds room to decide. If feeding resumes, a small clean refill can restore the signal without overcrowding the yard. Even after the tray is refilled, birds may not return instantly. The first return may be a test, not a full visit. One successful test can make the yard look different to the next bird. The return works best when birds can still choose distance. The feeder can help again, but it is still only one part of the yard. The point is not that birds panic when feeding stops. It is that their map changes. In colder weather, the same routine change can cost even more energy. In cold, even a short failed check can mean extra energy spent. In any season, birds are reading the same question. What changed here? A single refill helps, but a pattern is rebuilt over repeated mornings. From the bird's view, the yard is safer when the old route has a backup. The old route may return, but it returns with more caution than before. Even when feeding returns, short visits can still be the safest style. The useful question is not only, are they feeding, but how are they moving? A safe yard lets birds come and go without being cornered. To birds, a door that opens suddenly can be part of the feeding pattern too. After a disturbance, birds often wait before testing again. When the yard stays quiet, the test can begin again. Birds often use a triangle: cover, checkpoint, food, then cover again. That little pause on a branch may be the safety check. By now, the empty feeder has taught us to read the whole yard differently. Tomorrow, the first clue to watch is not the number of birds. It is the first pause. The second clue is whether birds still check the old spot. The third clue is whether the route moves toward cover. The fourth clue is whether birds shift to water and shade. Pause, check, route, water, cover. These are the quiet signs. A quieter feeder does not always mean birds are gone. If you restart, give birds time to test the pattern again. The bird may test the route before it tests the food. A safe feeding moment includes a clear way out. The best yard is not the yard that holds birds in place. It is the yard that gives them choices. Now the empty tray means something different than it did at the start. Sometimes the safest choice is not the feeder, even when food is there. The strongest yard gives birds both routine support and natural backup. Even with better care, routines can still slip. This time, the bird does not have to spend the whole morning solving one empty tray. The human finally sees the difference between disappearance and rerouting. The lesson is not guilt. It is noticing patterns before they become harder for birds. Cover nearby gives birds a safer way to test any feeding routine. Clean water gives birds another reason to stay safe while they search. From the bird's view, the safest yard is the one with several good exits. If the tray is empty again someday, the whole yard can still help. The same empty tray can mean a harder morning or just one changed option. The bird still makes the final choice. Another bird may solve the same empty tray in a different way. If you see birds check, pause, reroute, or wait in cover, the yard is telling you something. The empty tray was never the whole story. The safest ending is not a bird trapped at a feeder, it is a bird free to leave. Once you can see the clues, you do not need to crowd the birds to help them. The tray is only one signal among many. What changes first is not the bird's loyalty, it is the pattern they are reading. In your own yard, the first sign may be small. Maybe you have seen the feeder empty and wondered where the birds went. Did the birds wait, disappear, or simply change routes? The next time the routine changes, watch the bird's first choice. The answer is often hidden in the route the bird takes next. Have you ever stopped feeding birds for a few days and noticed a change? If you did, what changed first? The waiting, the route, or the number of birds? Every quiet backyard has clues if you know where to look. The empty tray is no longer just a worry. It is a reminder to watch the pattern. Have you ever stopped feeding birds for a few days and noticed a change?